Imagine, if you will, a crumbling castle perched atop a windswept cliff. Lightning illuminates the sky, casting grotesque shadows across stone gargoyles. Inside, by flickering candlelight, a lone figure hunches over a writing desk, pen scratching furiously across parchment. This, dear listeners, is the world of Gothic literature, the dark, tempestuous womb from which Bram Stoker's Dracula was born. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Winters, and welcome back to Dracula's Roots, where we excavate the influences behind literature's most enduring vampire. Last time, we delved into the blood-soaked history of Vlad the Impaler. Today, we turn the pages back to the late 18th century, when a literary revolution was brewing in the shadowy corners of the Enlightenment world. The year is 1764. In a sun-dappled study in England, Horace Walpole puts the finishing touches on the Castle of Otranto. Little does he know, he's just sired the Gothic novel, a genre that will haunt the literary world for centuries to come. Dr. Carol Margaret Davison, author of History of the Gothic, explains, Walpole's work was a reaction against the rational, orderly world of the Enlightenment. It tapped into deeper, darker human impulses. Fear, desire, the supernatural. It was the literary equivalent of opening Pandora's box. Fast forward a few decades. The year is 1794, and Anne Radcliffe is about to publish The Mysteries of Udolpho. Picture, if you will, the drawing rooms of England buzzing with excitement and trepidation. Radcliffe's novel, with its brooding anti-heroes and helpless heroines, would set the template for Gothic romance for generations to come. Can you feel the terror of Radcliffe's heroines as they flee down torch-lit corridors, their hearts pounding, pursued by unseen horrors? This is the same pulse-quickening dread that Stoker would later evoke as Jonathan Harker explores the labyrinthine halls of Castle Dracula. But the Gothic wasn't just about fear. It was about pushing boundaries, challenging societal norms. And no one pushed harder than Matthew Lewis with his scandalous novel, The Monk, in 1796. Imagine the outcry, a story of lust, murder, and demonic pacts, all set within the supposedly hallowed walls of a Spanish monastery. Lewis's work was the literary equivalent of a bomb going off in polite society. Dr. William Hughes, professor of Gothic studies, notes Lewis's The Monk brought sex and violence to the forefront of Gothic literature. It paved the way for later works to explore darker, more taboo subjects, including the erotic undercurrents in Stoker's Dracula. But how did these earlier works directly influence Stoker? Let's break it down. First, setting. The remote, foreboding Castle Dracula owes much to Walpole's Castle of Otranto and Radcliffe's Castle Udolpho. Next, atmosphere. The pervasive sense of dread and the use of the supernatural are hallmarks of the Gothic that Stoker employs masterfully. Then we have characters. Dracula himself is a complex villain in the tradition of Gothic anti-heroes, while the innocent Mina Harker echoes the imperiled heroines of Radcliffe's works. Finally, themes. The exploration of sexuality and the consequences of unchecked desire in Dracula have clear roots in Lewis's The Monk. Now, dear listeners, I invite you to close your eyes and transport yourself to Victorian London. The year is 1897, and Bram Stoker is hunched over his desk, much like the Gothic authors before him. But Stoker is doing something new. He's bringing the Gothic into the modern world. Imagine the gas lamps flickering as a fog rolls in from the Thames. In the distance, a steam train whistles. Stoker looks up from his manuscript, his mind racing. He's taking the crumbling castles and old-world superstitions of the Gothic and dropping them into the heart of the industrialized world. It's a collision of ancient and modern that would electrify readers. Dr. Nina Auerbach, in her seminal work, Our Vampires, Ourselves, argues Stoker's genius was in making the Gothic relevant to a new age. Dracula isn't just a monster, he's a threat to the very foundations of modern society. But what do you think, listeners? How do you see the influence of earlier Gothic works in modern vampire stories? Do the brooding vampires of Twilight owe a debt to Radcliffe's tormented heroes? Does the visceral horror of 30 Days of Night harken back to Lewis's graphic violence? Share your thoughts on our social media with the hashtag #JoshGothicVampires. As we close the book on today's episode, we're left with a question. What is it about the Gothic that continues to captivate us? In a world of electric lights and instant communication, why do we still shiver at the thought of dark castles and things that go bump in the night? Join us next time as we step into the fog-shrouded streets of Victorian London to explore the anxieties and fears that shaped Stoker's world. We'll uncover how concerns about sexuality, disease, and the other in 19th century society breathed life into the Count. Until then, keep an eye on the shadows, and remember, sometimes the greatest monsters are the ones we create ourselves. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Winters, and this has been Dracula's Roots.